Yeah, it seems, the RBA has only really one blunt instrument available to us. Governments don't. They have nuance and they can have some control over the inequity that a blanket interest rate does impose on poor, middle class and the rich. So, with that view, what do you think the government should be doing now? Does there need to be a better conversation about the huge level of migration, migrants that we've seen just this year, and the conversation about, whether that is keeping inflation high?
Oh, look, I think we have to really, really address this issue and can't constantly use interest rates as a way to address the rising inflation. We need to look at what other factors, and absolutely that huge migration that is really putting pressure on the demand for housing, and that is driving up inflation as well. But we need to really sit down and not use one instrument such as interest rate or another. We need to look at, because the world has changed so much now. We're impacted by global events, right? That's putting up petrol prices, for instance. So what can we do domestically here to really provide for our local communities?
And what do you think, Di? Do you have any ideas on that front?
For me, they need to really, the statutory tax cuts, we have to really revisit that, and revisit that. For me, I've always called for the excise fuel levy as the discount in that, in order to address the rising price in petrol prices here for families. So there are quite a few that I think of as a simple, ordinary member of the public and a representative here. Like I said, I think we need people to come to the table and look to do things differently. We can't constantly do the same thing over and over. I think that's called insanity.
Yeah, the definition of it. Di, before I let you go, Optus was an absolute PR, technological, chaotic disaster yesterday. Can you tell us, were your constituents affected? Will you not be able to? Are you a Optus customer, Di?
No, I'm a Telstra. I moved away from Optus, quite a few, years ago. But look, I think this really it triggers our conversation around our dependency on the digital infrastructure. Everybody now relies on a phone. Everyone, and the computer, the laptop, everything. So therefore, it's quite scary that we are experiencing this, and Optus now has to really look at how they can make sure that the infrastructure is maintained. Yesterday, I know when we were walking around in Cabramatta, the Optus local store were having their team outside on the street explaining information to people. We were trying to meet up with people who are on Optus, and we were trying to find out if they were arriving, so that was stressing us, and then so people couldn't get in touch with one another over meetings. And I know that parents, some of my team members, are stressed because they communicate constantly on the phone and they couldn't get through and they didn't know what was going on. So I can understand the stress because we're so reliant on that technology now. So really, I think Optus is a warning sign from my perspective for any other carriers, not just Optus, but Optus, obviously, we should learn a lesson from these in terms of how do we address what is the backup for us. Because we now so much live by our phones. So, yeah.
Yeah, we certainly do. Di Lee, always good to talk to you. We'll see you soon.